Cashed-up independent candidates are looking to unseat Liberal MPs across Australia at next year's election in coordinated campaigns that could produce a hung parliament. The movement is being bankrolled by a climate activist, Simon Holmes Accord, but he denies there's any strings attached.
Meet the women looking to hold the balance of power in Parliament.
This could be the change that is needed.
They're running as independents but share a similar policy platform, campaigning for more ambitious emissions reduction targets, a federal ICAC and female representation.
There's no voting bloc, there's no formal collaboration.
But the Liberals they're challenging don't buy it.
It's looking more like franchises than independents.
Where all the candidates are running the same lines, they're all getting hundreds of thousands of dollars of donations.
The so-called voices of campaigns are being bankrolled in part by Climate 200.
Climate 200 is offering to donate $100,000 if we can match it.
It's a fundraising group set up in 2019 by climate activist Simon Holmes Accord.
Climate 200's job is to level the playing field so they can compete against the party machines.
It's built up a $6 million war chest from over 6,000 donors. The aim is to make that $20 million by polling day.
So there's no central coordination. We don't start campaigns. We don't choose candidates.
Instead, Climate 200 claims candidates that align with its values approach them. All 8 campaigns funded so far target blue ribbon Liberal seats. Why aren't you funding campaigns against Labor or the Greens? Surely there are independent candidates there too.
To date, actually, I haven't seen any. These campaigns come out of frustration. And it's not surprising that people are frustrated with the party that's in power.
Charities boss Kylie Tink meets that criteria. She's a frustrated ex-Liberal voter taking on Trent Zimmerman in the seat of North Sydney.
At the moment, North Sydney's voice is not heard in Canberra.
Mr Zimmerman has told Sky News he welcomes the competition but warns it could prove counterproductive.
Well, I actually don't think it's good for the country to extinguish moderate voices inside the Liberal Party.
I find that actually a nonsensical argument because it's not the responsibility of the Australian people to ensure there's balance within the political parties.
On Sydney's northern beaches, GP Sophie Scamps has a tougher task. Jason Falinsky holds McKellar with a 13% margin. His challenger is hoping to replicate the success of Zali Steggall in the bordering electorate of Warringah.
The voting record has been identical to Barnaby Joyce.
No, Barnaby Joyce votes with me on legislation. You and I both know that I was in favour of net zero by 2050 and Barnaby Joyce was against it.
In Melbourne, former ABC journalist Zoe Daniel is looking to make history in Goldstein against Tim Wilson.
They actually don't have a platform beyond being a puppet for the Labor Party and the Greens.
Anyone who knows me well would know that I'm not a puppet. It so happens that I voted for Tim Wilson as a kind of proxy vote for Malcolm Turnbull in 2016. Then I voted Labor in 2019. I'm a true swinging voter.
But with big donations, incumbent Liberals question how independent these candidates really are.
Our funding is no strings attached. This is a new kind of politics. It's not a quid pro quo.
The independents are talking up their potential influence here in Canberra. If we see a hung parliament after the next election, it's the crossbench that's going to decide who forms government. But at this stage, the candidates are keeping their cards close to their chest.
I think people would think that it would be ridiculous for me to announce a position on something that hasn't even happened 6 months ahead of time.
Despite hailing from traditional Liberal seats, the independents won't guarantee the survival of a Liberal government.
You know, as somebody who's trying to authentically represent this electorate, McKellar, I would go back and consult with the electorate.
I think that voters have the right to know now.
The next Liberal to face an independent challenger is Treasurer Josh Frydenberg.
I'm Dr Monique Ryan and I'm your independent candidate for Kooyong.
And Climate 200 says there's more challenges to come. Trudy McIntosh, Sky News, Canberra.